Yeah, what kind of fairy tale is this? Wow.
Today it's GAX 100 miles in southeast Estonia in Sweden.
And I think this is one of the oldest races.
They say
100
so
miles.
in Sweden, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the most beautiful, they say.
It's really, really beautiful, and the weather today is.
So you have done it before?
Yes,
Ah.
4 years ago.
So any tips before we start here?
Take it easy in the beginning. Enjoy the moonlight tonight. It will be a beautiful night.
It's a full moon.
It's a full.
It's a short night though, but
It's short night, but it will be beautiful.
short and sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And save your legs for the long beach run.
What's your target?
Better than the last time, so about 23 hours, 22 maybe.
Antonio, what's your goal for this race? So you've been doing GAX before as well.
Yes. Faster than last time.
And what did you do last time?
19 hours something. So
Okay.
let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. If I don't turn into a piece of burning coal, the watch clock should say 18 something.
But then you have your house on the beach there.
I could just,
you can just go home.
Yes.
It's premiere for 100 miles.
And how do you
Super
feel?
nervous.
Yeah, no, but it's gonna be. What's your strategy for completing the race?
Not to think how far it is. More think about all the time, the nature, get to see the full moon. That's my
Yeah, that's the goal in
strategy.
itself, to enjoy the night.
Enjoy the night.
Det är varmt idag. Tänk väl in. Mycket. Ofta. Glöm inte salt. Ja. Annars är det lätt att kunna springa förbi. Så missa. Så kan du vända er om igen.
Now it's 5 minutes to start, and I only have one goal today, and that's crushing 20 hours. Anything else is disappointing. But of course, we're gonna enjoy the race as well. So looking forward now to the start in 5 minutes.
You need to be first, Marcus.
I need to be first. And this is Eric. He inspired me to run this race. The winner of 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. An excellent race report. It sounded mad at the time to run 100 miles, but here we are.
Here we are. Time for a repeat of the victory.
Yeah. Vilket håll är det? Already some confusion about where the race course is. Kör nu! Ja, riktigt bra. Härligt att vara igång. Härligt att vara igång. Det gäller bara att hålla igen. So how far are we into the race? Like 3 kilometers maybe? 3, 4 or something. I can't know. So the pace is not really 5K already. 5.5. And what time is it? So I think the pace is a little bit too high for that I planned for, but that's normal. We were discussing how the best to pace.
Yeah.
And then Eric is saying, well, I was saying, try to find someone and just follow someone that's good at pacing. And then Eric says, you should follow Sandra Lundqvist. And that was exactly what I thought the other day.
Yeah, she runs exactly one pace and then she continues that one until she finishes.
Right now she's a bit behind, so
She's in the back now.
so it means that we started off a little bit too fast. Så hur går det idag då?
Se. 20 timmar i målet.
Om du hänger på dig.
Baka på.
Okay. Prefer this to any other weather. Could be a little bit more wind to cool off, but it's even gonna be way better when we reach the coast as well. So the last part of this race is just something special. Vilken support! Ice!
Tjena, bra jobbat. Kommer is hela vägen.
Yeah, the second time here for Martin at GAX.
Second time from GAX.
And advise us a little bit on what to come and how to deal with it.
We will have in
10 kilometers the first water in Snoggeholmssjön. That's a good place to fill up the flask.
Now it's photo session time. Yeah, very nice. And it's like 26 degrees, so it's pretty hot. Not a lot of wind, but that keeps the pace down. I think that's really good. So I'm just enjoying. I'm not really here to enjoy. I'm here to perform, but I cannot help myself enjoying this one. Now we passed the first aid station, you could say, where it was a toilet with a public tap, and fill up the bottles. So we're done 26k, 2.5 hours, 2:40. So I think doing pretty well. So next station is at 44 kilometers. There's a proper drop bag. So I had some pre-prepared sports drink to fill my bottles, and then I have 2 additional bottles where I fill up some sports powder. Then at the next public toilet I can fill the water. So my pacing strategy has not been working at all. Try to keep it at a certain pace. I have watt numbers. I also had Sandra Lundqvist to follow, but she's still behind. But the one universal thing that I try to come back to that works all the time is nose breathing. So if you cannot nose breathe while running, then you're probably doing it a little bit too hard. So this is the favorite hill of Martin. He's been longing back here for a year now. Finally we're back.
Approaching Eriksdal. 32 kilometers.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
Soon, yes. The 10k.
Oh, 10k to go, okay. First drop bag. Feels
Yeah.
good. 43 kilometers.
Din droppväg är där, är där borta. Med stolarna.
Service.
Nej.
So we're filling up with some new energy, and then we have another 36k before the next drop bag. Now I get a little bit felt good, but I think those guys are pushing it a little bit harder now, so I try to find my own pace. Yeah, so this part was a little bit difficult to navigate even. Jag tror det är ute här. So it's not going very fast here. Difficult to navigate. It's getting really hot now, so I'm actually not feeling my best. But I get good company here. And here we have the cows as well. So I hope they don't attack us or anything. Yeah, so there's no marked trails by the race organization. The hiking trails are marked. And then we have a GPX file, so. But here is, I mean, it's no trail to follow, so. Härlig paus man får med sina 2 idoler. Som vill åka Porsche en sån här fin dag. Det är ju inte riktigt acceptabelt. Men...
Nej, det är det inte.
Ja.
Men du ser ju otroligt fin ut idag.
Ge mig tips för resten nu då.
Akta cykeln.
Ja, alltså eftersom att jag bröt i Simrishamn i natt, förvisso med en kapsejsad fot, men stränderna är fina, ja. De är hårda,
Ja.
så att det är liksom någorlunda...
Jag kan inte stå och tjata mer här nu, men...
Bra handtag.
Ja.
Otroligt.
So now we're at 64 kilometers roughly. Yeah, and yeah, some way to go. We're 1/3 done. That feels great. And not so far to the halfway point. So now after this aid station, my legs feel much nicer, a little bit reborn, because I had a rough spot between 50 and 60k maybe. It's like the energy is kicking in. And I had a little bit of accident, so the whole infusion set, the insulin pump got disconnected. So it popped out, so I had to stick on a new one. But when you're really sweaty, it's kind of difficult to make it stick on your skin, so to say. So hopefully this will hold up, otherwise yeah, I'm in a big problem. So that's more of a mechanical failure of this insulin pump, which is not very predictable either. But luckily I had an extra infusion set with me, because it doesn't happen very often actually. Härligt smörgåsbord här. Ja, det är bra, tack. Det ser ut som det springer lite också.
Ja, visst. Verkar man.
So now we're on well-known territory again. Feels nice to be on the way to the coast. It's cooling off a little bit now as well, right?
26 measured.
So you just running like a train.
Exactly.
It's great to follow you.
As good as I can.
That's gonna be my plan now. Just try to stay with Martin. There's a lot of trees that have fallen over the trails. So as you can see, it's beautiful, but sometimes a little bit difficult when you're an old man like me.
It's so beautiful with the verka on here. Yeah, follow it.
And you can cool yourself a little bit here as well.
Just did.
What a summer day. Swedish summer at its best. And how far have we run now? 71 kilometers, 9 hours. 8 hours. Yeah. Let's see if we can make 20 hours. It's gonna be tough, but we give it a try. So now we have a long downhill here. But there's ups, hills, and we have maybe 6 kilometers to the sea where the next drop bag is. Vad är vi nu då?
Haväng!
Haväng, gött.
Här har du droppbag.
Droppbag.
Bra jobbat.
Good to be here. Whew. We're leaving the Haväng aid station. The best aid station ever. Now we're coming out to the sea. This is so nice. People are still at the beach. I think it's 7:20, so we did the first half in 9:20. Gives us a little bit of margin for 20 hours, but it's gonna be very tough. As we're hitting the sand as well on it. I mean, this is not so fast to run in, and it's quite a bit of sand. But when we're on the beach later tonight, it's run down by the water where it's more wet and packed. This makes me happy. It's really nice. And it's cooling down a little bit now as well. Min hejaklack! Woo! So Kivik, where we are now, is very famous for all the apples, the cider and everything. So up here is where they make a lot of cider, and here you can see all the apple trees. So this was a pretty flat and fast section now through Kivik and Vetemulla. So I've been able to do like 6:10 per kilometers or something like that, which is pretty good. So making up a little bit time. I feel good. If I can continue like this, it's gonna be awesome. This is probably the toughest climb. It actually feels really hard now.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of breath. Worth climbing for. This is probably the highest point of the whole course, I would say. I mean, it's super nice. I'm just gonna follow the coast all the way down there. The sun has set and it's cooling off a little bit. Now it's 19 degrees. I think the forecast saying 14 degrees during the night, so it's gonna be nice. We've been running 95 kilometers roughly, and I think 20 hours will be tight, but we do our best. It's good to be two, to share the burden. Härligt!
Filmar du när du springer?
Ja, man måste dokumentera vad man håller på med för galenskaper liksom. Ja, vi springer ett varv runt, starta i Ystad. Och 16 mil, vi har sprungit 10 mil nu. So now we're approaching Vik. It's another one of those beautiful small cities. And the night is settling. It's close to 10 o'clock. We've been doing 100k. Martin was pushing it. His record of 100k was 11:44. So he wanted to see if he could beat that. There you can see Stenshuvud. That's where we climbed. And I do a lot of wave surfing here, especially in the fall and spring, I think. Hi guys, so beautiful little village. My support has arrived, and they have a party in the harbor here. Oh.
Du får springa, jag filmar. Jag skojar.
Jobbigt, det är jävligt varmt.
Så är det så bra.
Nu har den filmat i 4 minuter, får räcka.
Yeah, so now I'm a little bit got dark and a little bit technical trail here. So I lost my pace totally. And on top of that, my stomach is really hurting because I'm trying to deal with my diabetes. So sometimes it gets really low, and then you have to compensate and eat a lot of sugar. And if you kind of take 2 big gels in one go, then my stomach gets very upset. So working on that a little bit. And can you see the full moon? Might not need a headlamp running on the beach in full moon. So that is Simrishamn over there, and the full moon is out. This is Simrishamn. This is where the start is for Österlen Trail. That goes the opposite way up to Havang and then along the Verke River. Tack. Ja, det är bästa supporten man kan få alltså. Herregud. Nu kommer jag flyga resten.
Cola,
Ja, det kan jag ta.
saltgurka.
Är det en GoPro?
Ja, det är en Insta 360-kamera.
Chips. Chokladboll.
Vi får se en YouTube-film sen.
Vill du ha mer cola?
Nej, ja.
Kämpa på!
Now you can see the lighthouse over there, the Sandhammer. Now I had a pretty good period, but still tough. Now we can see both the lighthouse and the full moon, and we can see the stars as well. It's a nice temperature, but if you stop, you might get cold. So this must be the drop bag.
Jag har tagit fram min bag här.
Tusen tack.
Jag har koll på det.
Ja, det låter bra. Väldigt lyxigt. Hur går det?
Det går inget bra, men det går ju framåt ändå.
Ja. Bästa stationen. 30k to go now. And 4 hours to make the 20 hour. So it's gonna be very tough. And it's pretty hard now in the middle of the night. Cannot really eat anything. I got half a cup of blueberry soup in that aid station. And since Baskimulle I might have had, or since the last aid station actually, I only had 3 bottles of Coke, which is not a lot. Yeah, this beach is driving me crazy. Now very soon we're gonna have the sun come up. The moon is going down over there. We're getting to Kåseberga. Can feel some water hopefully in the harbor. And then we're gonna go up to Alestenar. It's like Stonehenge, but it's actually a Viking grave. Pretty cool stuff. So if we're lucky, you can see the moon go down and the sun come up on the other side when we're in the Viking grave. Would be cool. Climb up to the Viking grave, Alestenar. I don't really know if it's a Viking grave, but that sounds cool. You can see behind me the sun's coming up, and hopefully we can see still the moon going down. Yeah, it could not have been a lot better timing to get in here. So this is basically a Viking king that got buried, and they buried him with a boat. And on the left hand side, you see the moon going back into the sea, and on the other side we see the day is coming. How great is that? Pretty much 20k to go, and you can see over there in the distance Ystad, where they go is finished. So we have 10k of beautiful like hills that go straight down into the sea. Hopefully we can see a bit more of that later. And then it's like fast, flat, running the last 10k I think. The day is coming. Whew. Navigation has been pretty difficult in the dark because you don't really see those hiking signs, the orange markings. And here I haven't seen one for a while. It feels like I'm a little bit off trail, you could say. Yeah, so we're following those hills, rolling hills for a couple of kilometers, and then behind there we have another 10 to complete the race. Yeah, what kind of fairy tale is this? Wow. When the world is waking up, you hear the birds. Some cars start to drive. Still early. I don't know what time it is really. Nice. It's hard to run. Now we're coming off the beautiful hills and down into the fog. It was extremely foggy there during the night at some places where you couldn't see your hand in front of you. 10 kilometers to go. but I don't have enough time to make it in time, unfortunately. But I was a bit too sloppy. I was too enjoying it too much up on the Hammer Hills, watching the views, taking photos and stuff. So I should have pushed it a little bit more there. Now it's going okay. It's like 7 minutes per K, roughly. By the sea again. There's a lot of sand. Like this very soft sandbox sand. That's terribly difficult to run. But we soon done. And I think 100 miles is really 161.2 kilometers. And we got 4 seconds to spare. Sub 20. But doesn't really count.
Nog snart ut här och badar.
Ja, det låter som en bra idé. Men du har gjort Gax 5 gånger.
Ja.
Och den här gången var tuff.
Den här gången var väldigt tuff. Första halvan var riktigt tuff. Fram till Haväng tyckte jag när det var varmt. Men det blev ju bättre och stranden var ju väldigt fin. Det var ju lite positivt. Den var ju hård.
Perfekt. Så hur långt har vi kvar nu då?
Har vi 2 kilometer kanske.
2. Ja, det blir härligt. What the race! Now we're looking forward to the beer. Det gick ju nästan i alla fall. Vad är mål?
Vi vepan.
Ja, det är bra det där. Tack. Skönt att vara i mål.
Ja, här är din fru.
Hej! Hej! Tack!
Åh, vad duktig du är.
Ja, tack!
Det var ganska lätt, eller hur?
Piece of cake.
Vilken kämpainsats. Grymt jobbat.
Fan.
Jag trodde inte du skulle komma i mål knappt.
Ja, jag hade brytplaner
Ja, tack.
hela tiden.
Jag kan tänka mig.
Inte Sandhammaren. Har man kommit dit så
Ja, då är det bara att byta ihop. Men
Ja,
redan när vi...
då kan man liksom gå om det.
Jag såg det efter 4 mil eller något sånt och så du var ut och gå tungt.
Ja, men värmen.
Ja.
Hej Brynja!
Och skönt att komma i mål innan liksom dag 2:s värme.
Woo!
Grymt!
Hej Martin!
Ja, det är bättre en natt än en dag kanske.
Han var snyggt.
Jag slog Martin i slutet, han var ju så långt före.
Grymt. Grattis. Tack.
Bra kört!
Fan, jag är helt jävla död alltså.
Snabbare än i fjol.
Ja,
Fast
jag är det.
värre väder.
Ja, grymt.
Lättnad.
Now it's 45 minutes after finishing the race and my body is violently complaining about the sanity of running 100 miles, so I'm kind of shivering and yeah, all the muscles are super stiff. But I think it was a very fantastic race. It was great, a lot of variety. I mean, the weather was great. It was a bit on the hot side, of course, but still it was like a beautiful evening last night and the full moon and everything, so the whole experience was top class. I mean, it is probably the most beautiful race in Sweden, and it was a bit tougher than I thought actually. And now it's 25 hours and 40 minutes since the race started. We have about 30 finishers and 20 or 15 people still out there running. And those are the true heroes, being out this second day in the heat weather. I mean, I was really happy to get back before the heat came because now it's really hot again. So I mean, I was going into this race with ambition of running 20 hours. Of course, I failed at that, but I think I gave it all I had pretty much, and I need to train a little bit more to be a little bit faster. But I'm extremely happy with the way I executed it. I was very worried going into the race that I would run too fast at the beginning and burn all my matches. But I managed the pacing very well, and I was strong all the way into the end. Kind of was very tired and forgot to run from time to time. So one of the highlights last night was all people cheering and everything, and of course the most important was my wife and my son came out and supported me. That gives a lot of energy, not only the coke, but more so the mental energy. And when you're very lonely for most of the second half of the race, then you kind of need someone to cheer you up from time to time. I'm also super happy about enjoying the race, so could enjoy every footstep of the race. So that was great. It was a great race. I can strongly recommend it, and I will come back for sure. Maybe not next year, but sometime in the future. So see you another time, and hopefully I manage to train a little bit more so I can do my sub 20